You join us here today up at Barston Lakes practicing for our semi-finals of the British Carp Angling Championships. Me and my fishing partner Jamie, we recently qualified through from Willows Lake in St Albans, and in about 4 weeks' time we'll be up here fishing 48 hours in the semi-finals. One of the main things, the most important things when it comes to match fishing is to get your tactics right and understand the venue. And that's why we're up here today, to try lots of different tactics, to try and hone down our skills, refine those tactics, baits, to make sure that we can get the most out of the swim when we pull it from the draw bag. So we've been down here for around about 12 hours now. We fished overnight last night, trying lots of different stuff. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get out there, fish 3 rods on the spot as if we were in a competition and see how it goes. So, you ready to go for it, Jay?
Can't wait, mate.
All right, let's get those rods out, mate. Go for it. One of the little things that we're using to give us an edge on this competition is going to be the air spom. It's rather than a normal spom that goes and crashes into the water and just deposits. Oh, hang on, we're away. What I was saying is that the air spom, what it does, it actually deposits the bait and spreads it. So it hits the clip, opens in the air, and then spreads the boilies, which is, we're baiting with boilies in this match, rather than a normal spom that comes and hits the water and then just drops it in a big pile. So by spreading the baits out, you get the sound of that plopping. You get that scattered bait going on the surface, which, where this is a match venue, they get used to coming to the sound of bait rather than just the smell of it. And also presentation-wise, it gets the fish moving around a little bit as well, trying to find the hook baits out there. So yeah, rather than spomming, we're air spomming. It seems to be working nicely. Just got to try and work this one over the other rods, or under them, whichever way she's going to go. I'm keeping the rod tip nice and low. One of the things that we found when you come to these sort of matches is if you're playing the fish in with the rod tip low, especially in this coloured water, you can bring the fish right into the margins with them putting up hardly any fight, and then they do come alive when they get right in close. But as you can see at the moment, I'm just gaining loads of line on this fish. Oh, we're away again, Jake. I think that's... Is that? Yeah, it's not me, mate. I'm over the top. Oh, it might actually, she might be... Where are we, mate? I'm over here. Who's that fish? You're in, are you? There you go. So you can see there, we've just been baiting up with the air spom. Put the rods out, tram lining out there, 3 accurate casts, just 3 casts. You don't want to be putting any more casts in the water than you have to. 3 casts. Hook up with 2 fish. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move out the way, because we're fishing a match, we're fishing as a pair. I'm actually going to move, my fish is going this way. I've got a net in the swim next door. I'm going to move over there, give Jamie the space here to play this fish in. As soon as I get this one in the net, I'll be on the air spom, then we get the rods back out on the spot. All right, so here we go. As you just saw there, this is the first part of that double take. Just a long, lean ghosty, probably about, I don't know, 7-8 pounds, something like that. But it's all about the weight that you catch in these carp matches and the speed at which you catch them. So we're going to pop him back, put it onto the clicker. We use a fish counter to actually count the number of fish that we have. So put that one on there so we don't lose track of the number of fish. Get the rod back out on the spot, go and catch some more. One of the things when you're match fishing like this and it is going off like it is at the moment, I don't know how many fish we've had, like 6 fish in 20 minutes, is you don't forget about your feeding. because that's where quite a few people go wrong, is you're catching fish, catching fish, catching fish, catching fish, and then the spot dries up because you haven't fed for an hour, and then it's hard to get the fish back. So what we're going to do is, rather than getting that rod out, Jay's getting on the air spom to make sure we get another 50 baits out there, and then we quickly put the rods back over the top. Because in the matches you're fishing for the long game, it's a 48-hour match, not just how many fish you can catch in a couple of hours. So get that bait out, good work Jay, and then we get this one in the net. So we've had 16 fish since we started at 10 o'clock today. This is going to be the 17th fish when Jay gets it in. We've got 2 rods on the spot, and we're trying to constantly keep the rods on the spot with bait going over the top. Keep the regular feed going in and keep the bites coming. What size do we say the average is, Jay? About 10 pound? 12 pound. Yeah, 10 or 12 pounds. So although not massive fish by nowadays carp standards, with inside match fishing it's really important just to get all of these in the net. So what we're doing now is we're trying to refine the tactics, refine the rigs and stuff, just to make sure that we've got the best chance possible of landing every single bite that we get. But the bait's working, tactics seem to be working, Jay, don't they? And yeah, looking forward to the semis now. Right, well this is fish number 16 and 17 that we've had. We started fishing at 10 o'clock this morning. It's now midday, so that's 17 fish in 2 hours. We're going to snip these ones back, and then we're going to have a little look at the bait we've been using to catch these fish this morning. Well done, Jake.
Well done, mate.
Whoa. So the bait we're using for this session is Code from Nutrabaits. And I thought I'd just run through a little bit of the different baits in the range that we're using on this session. So the main bait is actually the freezer bait, which is 18mm Code freezer bait. And you can see there that it's absolutely laced in liquids. We like using a lot of liquids to get that attraction and food signal into the water column. When it lands in the water out of the air spom, it gives a plume of attraction on the surface layers and also drags it down to the bottom as well. And you can also see we've coated that with the carpet feed or the bag mix. And what that does is it actually means that the liquid gets taken down to the bottom of the lake bed and releases attraction down there as well, rather than just coming off on the surface. So really like doing that, lots of liquid, put the carpet feed on there, make sure it coats all around the baits, and it creates this like nice sticky textured bait. And what we've been fishing on the hair is actually one of those straight out of the bucket. So one of those sort of coated baits out of the bucket, or one of the corky wafters, again in the 18s. So those ones there just mounted on a very, very simple hair rig, 80mm bait, supple hair rig on there, a little kicker and a size 6 hook. And the reason that we're doing that is that we're fishing in heavy silt there. So when this lands down and the leg clip goes in, or the inline leg goes in, we don't want a stiff hook link that's sitting up in the water. This just comes to lay to rest on top of the silt, and it's been doing all of the bites there. So very, very simple hook arrangements to go with our hook baits. And then for the liquid that we've been using to put inside the baits, we've got the activator here, which is a PVA friendly activator liquid, and it's quite a fine liquid. I've used most of it up actually, but you can see that it's quite a fine liquid. Now that soaks inside of the baits, and then it allows that carpet feed and the bag mix to stick around the outside of it as well. So we've been using that to put into the baits in the big bucket and coat all of the baits. And then also we've been using the hook bait complex just as a little sort of dunk before they go out. We just put the hook link in there, give it a good dunk, and then cast out once putting the bags and the hook baits inside the hook bait complex. So nothing's sort of overcomplicated at all on this session. It's just about using high quality baits, simple, strong, reliable components on your tackle, and getting the fish feeding and keeping them feeding with your baiting pattern. But I hope you found that useful. We can go back and see if we can catch a few more fish. Right, well that was a bit interesting. We had the fish wrapping around the lines. We managed to get a fish on each rod, so all 3 rods had fish on it. But teamwork makes the dream work. We managed to stay calm and just nip one, pearl one, over and under. And hopefully we can get all these fish in the net. And again, when you're match fishing, these aren't big fish, you know, they're not PBs by any stretch of the imagination, but every single pound that you can get in the net counts in a match. So is fish number 50. We had 25 fish at 10 o'clock this morning. It's now just gone 12:30 and this is fish number 50, so that's 25 fish in 2.5 hours. Tactics seem to be working. Been working the swim really well, and yeah, things seem to be ready for the semi-finals. Just need to hope for a really good draw. With this match fishing, that is one of the big things you need to get a good draw. You know, it's not everything, but obviously if you haven't got the fish in front of you, you can't catch them. But get a half decent draw. I'm pretty confident the tactics that we figured out this session are going to stand us in good stead for the semi-final. So yeah, it's been a good session, but we'll try and get this one in the net. Hopefully it doesn't fall off. And yeah, I think I'll get some lunch at the clubhouse, I think. So there we go, that's the end of our session here practicing for the semi-finals of the BCACs up at Barston Lakes. This is fish number 50. You've got a nice fully there as well, Jay. And this is about the average stamp of the fish we've been having. Around up is about sort of £8, something like that.
Some bigger, some smaller, aren't they? Yeah,
that's it. Some of them bigger, some of them smaller. But I think we've got our tactics sorted.
Definitely.
We're going to go and have some lunch now. Slip these back, obviously. Go and have some lunch. And then go for a walk around, because it's really important with these matches to get a good idea of where the pegs are going to be, so that when we come out of the draw, we can make a wise choice as to which peg we select for the semis. But no, that's been good. We're getting back. We've got a long drive home, haven't we? So let's get packed up and get on the road, mate.